My teenage son was teaching himself guitar. He wasn't loud. He practiced during the day. But our neighbors still called the police 3 times in a week for sound violations. When officers told her the noise wasn't excessive, she filed a petition with the city council to declare our house a recurring audio hazard. Then we found her YouTube channel, Noise Watchers United. She'd been secretly recording us and uploading clips titled, "The Decline of Civilization in Suburbia." But the worst part. In one video, she's in our backyard, narrating from under my son's bedroom window at 2 a.m. We moved to Modesto, California, about 8 years ago. It's a quiet neighborhood. Or it was. Most folks mind their business. We grill on weekends. Mow our lawns. Nothing fancy. Then there's Deborah Hastings. She lives right next door. Same house for over 30 years, or so she reminds everyone. She's got this little white house with blue shutters and a porch swing that creaks all night. I used to wave at her. She never waved back. Colby, my son, is 15. Quiet kid. Keeps to himself. He decided he wanted to learn guitar last fall. Asked for lessons, but we didn't have the money. So he taught himself. Watched videos. Took notes. Practiced in his room every day after school. We even padded part of the door with an old quilt to soften the sound, not that it was ever loud. He played soft, careful. Mostly classic rock and old folk songs. The first time the cops came, I thought maybe it was a mistake. It was 3:15 in the afternoon. A Tuesday. I was working from home, and Colby was playing Let It Be on a loop. I opened the door, and the officer looked uncomfortable. "Got a call about noise," he said. I just blinked. "You mean the guitar?" He nodded. "Not me, sir. Just checking it out." He stepped inside, stood in the hallway for maybe 10 seconds, then shook his head. "This is nothing. I can't even hear it unless I'm really trying." I asked who called. He didn't say, but I already knew. Deborah. Second time was Friday. Colby was at his friend Milo's house. No one was playing anything. Still, the same officer came back. Same complaint. He sighed. "Listen, I'm just doing my job. She's saying you're creating a hostile environment with audio pollution." Audio pollution. Third time came Sunday. Right after dinner. Colby was playing House of the Rising Sun. I had just told him how proud I was of his progress. Then came the knock. Different officer this time. Younger guy. He looked more confused than annoyed. I told him we'd already had this conversation twice in 1 week. He said he'd make a note of it. By that point, I wanted to confront her. But my wife said no. She said Deborah was the type to make things worse. So we held off. Until she showed up at a city council meeting. She filed a petition against us. Claimed our home was a recurring audio hazard. Brought a printed report with decibel readings she claimed she measured herself. Said Colby's playing violated her right to peaceful enjoyment of her property. She had pictures. Charts. Even brought a thumb drive with audio samples. City council let her speak. We weren't even invited. I only found out because my buddy Mitch works maintenance at the building. He texted me and said, "You're not gonna believe what this crazy woman's saying about your kid." The council denied her petition. Laughed her out of the room, actually. One of them said, "This is not a city issue." But it didn't stop her. A week later, Colby's friend showed us something on YouTube. It was a video called Suburban Strum, EP3. The channel was called Noise Watchers United. It was our house. Filmed from her backyard, through the slats of her fence. You could see the edge of Colby's window. You could hear him playing guitar. She was narrating. Her voice was flat, cold, almost smug. "This is the 3rd hour of noise pollution from the house next door," she said. "I've logged it. I've recorded it. And I will expose it." Other videos had titles like Teenage Menace Strikes Again, Why Suburbia is Failing, A Case Study, Guitar Torture in California. It was creepy. But not illegal. Then I saw that video. It was labeled After Hours Observation. Posted 2 days earlier. She was in our backyard. At night. 2:06 a.m. to be exact. You could see the timestamp in the corner. She was hiding under Colby's window, whispering like a documentary narrator. "They sleep while the noise rots the neighborhood," she whispered. "But I'm watching." My hands went cold. I paused the video and rewound it. Watched again. She was crouched in our flower bed. Wearing all black. Holding her phone to her face. She was on our property. At 2 in the damn morning. I called the police. Again. They said they couldn't do much unless we had her on tape entering the yard. I told them she filmed herself in our backyard. They said I needed to bring that in for review. Which I did. Twice. But nothing happened. I filed for a restraining order. Took time. Paperwork. A court date. Meanwhile, she kept posting videos. Comments. Some of her weird followers started chiming in. This is why I hate teens. Total lack of discipline. Maybe the parents are worse than the kid. That one stung. But I stopped being afraid. I stopped waiting for someone else to fix it. I started digging. I started with the YouTube channel. Noise Watchers United had about 1,100 subscribers. Not huge, but the comment section was alive. A few regular names kept showing up. Weird usernames, most of them. People who acted like they were part of some online neighborhood watch. I clicked on a guy named SoundLoss79. He commented on almost every one of her videos, saying stuff like, "Get a decibel meter, and don't let them win." His page linked to a Facebook group called Audio Vigilantes of America. I joined with a burner account. It was worse than I thought. There were hundreds of people posting pictures of their neighbors, videos of kids riding bikes, families having BBQs, with captions like, "Noise threat level orange." It was a community of bitter, angry people who thought any sound was an attack on their way of life. Some of them wore it like a badge. 2 restraining orders and proud. Deborah wasn't just a cranky neighbor. She was a leader in this noise-hating cult. And her videos about Colby were getting more views. One had over 40,000. She was making money off them. I checked her video descriptions, ads were turned on. She was monetizing my son's guitar practice, and using our home as a punching bag. That's when I shifted gears. I recorded every video she posted. Saved them to a hard drive. I pulled metadata, timestamps, locations. Then I started watching them frame by frame. In one video, episode 12 I think, I saw something. A man. Briefly in the background. Older guy, gray hair, wearing what looked like a City of Modesto Public Works jacket. He was holding something, a clipboard maybe. She said in that video. With help from former officials, we're documenting suburban sound crimes. My stomach dropped. She had connections. That made me even more cautious. I wasn't just dealing with a nosy neighbor anymore. I was dealing with someone who knew how to play the system. So I went offline. I stopped commenting, stopped complaining, stopped showing any reaction at all. But I didn't stop working. I started making my own recordings. I placed a motion-activated camera near Colby's window, angled toward the backyard. I added a second one on the fence line, right where Deborah usually stood. Within 2 weeks, I had her on video, 3 separate times, sneaking into our yard. One time, she actually brought a flashlight. Another time, she left a small wind chime under Colby's window. Like bait. That one pissed me off the most. I handed the footage to the police. This time, they took it seriously. But it was still slow. Meanwhile, her YouTube page kept growing. She started getting sponsorship offers. One video had her wearing a t-shirt with "Silence is peace" in bold red letters. In another, she sold branded earplugs. She was building a brand. Off my kid. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I contacted a guy I went to high school with. Travis. He was the kind of guy who always knew how to work a system. Got kicked out of school for selling fake hall passes. Now he runs a tech business out of Fresno. Legal stuff, mostly. But he dabbled in gray areas. I told him everything. Showed him the videos. The comment sections. The wind chime. He looked at me and said, "You want to take her down online, or in real life?" I said, "Both." Travis didn't ask a lot of questions after that. He just nodded and told me he'd start pulling threads. Said he'd need a few days. Maybe a week. In the meantime, I kept up appearances. Waved at Deborah when I saw her on her porch. Watched her pretend not to see me. She was smug now. Confident. I could tell she thought she'd won. That's what made it easier to stay calm. Let her think she was in control. 4 days later, Travis called. "I've got something. You might want to sit down." He'd found the email account linked to her YouTube channel. Then he tracked it to 2 other accounts, one PayPal, one Patreon. Her subscribers weren't just watching. They were paying. Monthly donations. Private message requests. Some of them were even giving her tips on how to get better audio, how to bypass legal boundaries quietly. Then came the real bomb. She'd been using a drone. Travis found video footage, private, unlisted links, of her flying a small drone behind our house, into people's yards. Not just ours. Several homes up and down the street. She'd been snooping into people's lives for months, maybe years. One clip showed a couple sunbathing in their backyard. Another showed a toddler's birthday party. All narrated in her same flat, judgmental voice. She was building a whole library of suburban life, twisted into her personal horror show. And then Travis found the biggest piece. She applied for a grant, he said. From a nonprofit. Claims she's working on a documentary about the auditory decline of American neighborhoods. Said she's filming with consent. I felt my jaw tighten. Consent? Yeah, he said. Claims every subject in her videos gave her permission. All signed waivers. I checked the uploaded documents. The signatures are fake. Fake signatures. Federal grant money. Unauthorized surveillance. Trespassing. Stalking. Now we had something real. I took everything we had, my footage, Travis's research, copies of her drone videos, grant forms, forged waivers, and brought them to a lawyer I knew from work. A real no-nonsense guy named Alan. He took one look and said, "Yeah, this is bad. For her." We filed a civil suit for invasion of privacy, harassment, and emotional distress. We included Colby as a minor under our care. Alan also contacted the nonprofit that gave her the grant. They opened an investigation. Quietly. I didn't say a word to Deborah. But I watched her. She was still recording, still posting. Then one day, everything changed. Her videos stopped. Her channel went dark. No posts. No comments. Gone. But she didn't know yet that it was me behind it. That's when the real revenge began. 2 weeks after her channel went dark, Deborah showed up at our door. She didn't knock. Just stood on the porch, arms crossed, jaw tight. I opened the door slowly. She didn't say hello. "You did this," she hissed. I didn't answer. Just looked her in the eye. "My videos. My email. My Patreon. All gone. You hacked me." I smiled. "I didn't hack anything. But I did protect my family." She stepped forward, fingers shaking in my face. "You'll regret this. That was the last straw. You came into our yard in the middle of the night. You filmed my son in his bedroom. You stalked our home for months. You think I'm the one who crossed the line?" She looked thrown off. Almost confused. Like none of it had occurred to her as wrong. I shut the door in her face. The next day, she got served. Court dates. Lawsuits. The nonprofit pulled their funding. Filed charges for fraud. The forged signatures sealed it. We weren't the only ones suing either. Once word got out, more neighbors came forward. A woman 2 houses down said Deborah filmed her kids in the pool. Another neighbor found one of her drone videos showing his wife gardening in a bathing suit. She'd zoomed in. At least 4 people filed separate suits. One even contacted the local news. Then came the breaking point. Deborah's identity was leaked in a subreddit. Someone shared a clip of her crouched behind a fence, filming a barbecue while muttering, "Filth. Noise. Ruin." It went viral. Thousands of comments. Memes. Edits. She became a joke overnight. Then came the backlash. Her car was egged. Twice. One day, someone dumped a pile of kazoos on her porch. Another day, someone strung a huge banner between 2 trees across her lawn that said, "Noise Nazi." But we didn't do any of that. We stayed quiet. And then, just when I thought it was over, I made one last mistake. I went on a podcast. I thought it'd help set the record straight. They asked me to talk about harassment, neighborhood rights, protecting your family. I didn't name her directly, but I told the story. Colby begged me not to do it. Said he just wanted to move on. I should have listened. Deborah heard it. She showed up in court the next week with a countersuit. Defamation? She claimed the podcast ruined her life. Said the whole thing was one father's attempt to punish a concerned citizen. Her lawyer was sharp too. Said I weaponized the internet against her. Said I exploited a digital mob. For a while, it looked like she might win something. A settlement, at least. Then Travis pulled one final rabbit out of the hat. He found an old post of hers on a private forum, Noise Law Group. In it, she bragged about getting a kid labeled a threat, and called herself the guardian of the last quiet neighborhood. She even uploaded a clip of herself laughing after Colby stopped playing one day. "Got him to shut up," she said. Victory. The judge reviewed everything. All the trespassing. The drone footage. The fake documents. The obsessive behavior. The comment threads. The case crumbled. She lost everything. The civil suits. The fraud investigation. The community support. The money. Her internet presence. But I'll be honest, so did we, in a way. Colby quit guitar. Said the whole thing killed it for him. He doesn't even listen to music anymore. Sleeps with his window locked and the blinds down tight. He's not the same kid. And I hate that. My wife and I fought a lot during it too. Stress. Guilt. I got obsessed. She told me to let it go, but I couldn't. I needed to see it through. Needed to win. But winning didn't feel like winning. Deborah moved 6 months later. The house is empty now. No one talks about her anymore. But sometimes I look at that little swing on her porch, still creaking in the wind, and wonder if I went too far. Then I remember her whispering under my son's window at 2 a.m. And I know I didn't.